Welcome to Crypto Disrupted. I'm your host, Trent Lipinski. I'm here with Kerry. He's working on an immersive artistry project. Hey, Kerry, how's it going? Can you tell us a bit about what you're working on?
First off, really honored to be on your show, man. Big fan of Crypto Disrupted. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
We're working on a project right now that best way to say it is, why do business unless you're willing to push the envelope and do something different, that you wake up every morning and say, you know what, I'm not just out here to, make money. I'm not just out here to do something that's going to be slogging through my day. We're very passionate about what we're doing right now. We think we're creating a portal between Southeast Asia and the rest of the world. And we think we're in a really unique position between myself and my partners in Southeast Asia and my partner, Perry Farrell, to create something that no one's ever done before, which is to take the unbelievable talents of this whole area of Asia, specifically within Southeast Asia, and figure out how to curate and celebrate the artists, the chefs, the singers, and the fashion designers and others, and create this super cool new market and connect it all using the blockchain to bring it to the rest of the world. So we're creating a project where our first location will be in right in Las Vegas, and we're in the middle of the Strip, and we're partnered with Caesars, and you physically have to take a train that leaves a major train station we're building impossibly in the middle of South Las Vegas Boulevard, and that train is going to physically take you into Bangkok at 1 a.m. in the morning, and you're going to get off the train, and it's an active real night market, and 40 different incredible food vendors and beverage vendors and liquor vendors and craftsmen making incredible amulets and different types of jewelry. And each street leads you to a different area where there's a music district and a series of clubs and bars that have and can hold 200, 300 people at a time. And there are live performers who we are discovering as we speak, about 50 to 60 new performers a year, from everywhere from Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Taiwan, Indonesia, the Philippines, Singapore, all the different countries of South and Southeast Asia that we're kind of now bringing over here to the United States, matching them with incredible songwriters and producers. And they're going to be playing in these residencies within our world of Kind Heaven. And when you come into Kind Heaven, the whole world is cashless. And you get these kind of cool amulet bracelets like everybody's used to wearing, except our amulet bracelets actually are your cash. They're your various tracking, and they bring it all to life for you. And so our whole world is fueled by our own coin called the Yala coin. And so when you come in, it's no differently than if you went to a foreign country and you convert to that foreign country's currency. We will have currency converters. By the way, we also have, when you come to Kind Heaven, you go through customs and you go through passport control. And, I forgot to mention, it's not in English. So there's a whole fun component to it that is, spoken word. We've brought back a language that was like one of the original kind of like Latin was to Europe. Palava was one of the original languages of Southern Asia, and we're bringing it back. Hasn't been used in a few hundred years, but that's not daunting us. So, we're going to have fun to create a fully immersive environment. Vegas is the first location. We're thrilled to be partners with Caesars there. Then we're going to go to Dubai. Then we're going to go to Moscow. And by go to, I mean open up specific separate locations.
Yeah.
Our premise for Kind Heaven is to create a brand that represents the best of celebrating the artists and artistry and talents of Southeast Asia. We're very fortunate. I've grown up, as I'm sure you have and many others in your audience base, going to places like Burning Man, Lightning in a Bottle. Maybe you've visited Haight-Ashbury once, even though there's nothing there to see. But all of these places and festivals ranging from Burning Man to the original 1960s versions of Summer of Love, all were heavily influenced by Southeast Asian philosophy and Southeast Asian culture and the spirituality of Southeast Asia. And that's what we want to capitalize to help people kind of connect that and connect to that, because it's a wonderful kind of spirit. And we're very fortunate to learn every day from our Southeast Asian partners who are helping us bring this to life.
And so, what made you go to the blockchain and cryptocurrency as a means to kind of help you create this immersive world?
A few reasons. We wanted to build community. We wanted to basically look at no differently than there's a burner community and a very firm community that's there. We wanted to build a community that wasn't inhibited by barriers of US versus this country versus that country. We wanted to build a community that was one kind of gigantic global audience together. And so blockchain for cryptocurrency gave us the ability to do that. It gave us the ability to have transactions happening anytime, real time there in any of those countries in Southeast Asia and here in any of our locations around the world. So it's one fluid community. So we start with that. General currency doesn't allow you to do that. General fiat doesn't allow you to do that. If I had a dollar, it's going to have a complication in those countries. So having a shared currency, we start with that. Second is the ease of being able to, we're building an artist-supported community. So we discover a bunch of 17-year-olds from Indonesia, which we just did, four rockers who are insanely good. They're like a young version of Metallica. And we want to give them their own proprietary communication with people who are part of our Yala community who can, advocate, support them, and use the Yala coin within our system that way. We want to find new brands, whether it's jewelry brands, fashion brands, whatever, and connect them immediately into our e-commerce kind of universe. We're about to announce a massive e-commerce partnership. I can't say with who yet, but it'll be announced very shortly. And when that's announced, it will be the first time truly that kind of blockchain is meeting traditional e-commerce in a gigantic way. And we will become their Southeast Asian solution, so to speak. And again, I look at this as, my job and my hat in this role is as an operator. There's so many, I'm surrounded by a lot of visionaries who are both living in Southeast Asia, people like Terry Farrell and others. And I think lastly, when I look at the value of what we're building, in blockchain, I think as a coin in of itself, to have to use our coin in our locations we will truly be, I think, one of the first genuine kind of utility coins where people are really getting a big benefit out of it right away. I mean, right away.
It's real world. These are actual places that you're going and experiencing. And you mentioned to me that, so this is not AR or VR. This is all a real world experience. And you have quite the background in Hollywood of creating these kind of cinematic experiences on the big screen. So now you're bringing that to the real world. Can you kind of dive a little bit into your background in Hollywood and what you've worked on in the past?
Sure. First off, I'm a perpetual student of mythology. And, every day when I'm reading whatever I'm reading, whether it's some new tome or whatever, it's constantly, I can't believe the inventiveness that exists out there. And I've had the honor throughout the years of living in the Tolkien world, for years, and kind of going deep to understand kind of what his kind of world look like and how do you bring that to life, and also working with people like John Howe and Alan Lee, who were Tolkien's kind of concept and character artists. I've also had the honor of working with Tolkien's, buddy C.S. Lewis and his estate, and bringing the Narnia films to life. I think the Narnia films are more apropos because what the Narnia films basically posit is that there was a wardrobe and you walk through it, and that was a portal. And that portal takes you into this magical world. Lord of the Rings, it all takes place in Middle Earth. Here, with Narnia, it's a real portal. We're creating, with Kind Heaven, a portal from our world to this other world. And I've always loved that in mythology films. Years ago, I did a franchise called Journey to the Center of the Earth. When you go through, the Icelandic cave that, Verne had discovered, it's like a portal that takes you into this other world beneath our world. I'm a big believer in the importance of establishing kind of that sense of place, environment, characters, rules, spirituality, and kind of values, and then living it all together. So this is a new medium. Unlike passively sitting in a movie theater where you're just watching something, you're living this. This you're genuinely living. You're there real time.
Awesome. And like I said, no VR, no AR, no special glasses.
You're
You
wearing,
get to live the experience.
yeah. You might be wearing, you might be wearing a cool jacket you bought, but that's about it.
And it's, this is an interesting use case because, like, this is the beauty of what blockchain and cryptocurrencies kind of enables is it allows you to create, as you put it, a community um, that is specifically focused around the intentions of what you're creating it for, without the limitations of fiat, without the limitations of the banks, without the limitations of having to go through exchanges and all those complicated things. It allows you to create something simple, but yet at the same time, that kind of allows you to enter this new immersive world and experience reality in a different way. Um,
Absolutely.
So I've interviewed a lot of CEOs on the show and a lot of different people, and it's like, a lot of them are tech projects, tech platforms and stuff. But this is definitely a fascinating one because you're bringing this to the real world. It sounds like there's going to be an e-commerce component of it as well. But I love the fact that there's going to be a physical marketplace that you can actually go to in Las Vegas and actually, use the bracelet, transact and deal with people speaking in another language and get that experience of like you said, go through a portal and experience what it would be like to be somewhere else and experience this this different. Are you going for a specific time period, or is there additional, like, what does the world look like? Can you kind of describe it visually for us?
Go through different areas and zones. I mean, it's generally a journey from, a place where we're all at right now of trying to understand the world around us, and the journey is a journey to enlightenment. It's
Mhm.
basically a journey that starts out in the streets, the night markets, and then it goes into the forest area where you're basically going through this kind of elevation and spirituality, and you're able to pick up candles and send them into the sky and have all sorts of fun kind of experiences. And it ends in this kind of sanctuary zone, which is kind of the best of Kathmandu, Nepal, in those areas where Bhutan, where you're able to really feel like you're in the mountains and you're able to be amongst kind of a whole new elevation of spirit in that area. And that's kind of more our dance, kind of pop and Burning Man at Dawn kind of feel to it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so what are so who else are you working on this project with? Do you have other partners or other people, or are you leading the whole show, or how does it?
I'm very fortunate to have Perry Farrell, who was the founder of Lollapalooza and also from Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros. And, this was his original idea. And he, had a huge Asian influence in his life with his wife, Etty, who was very also responsible for bringing this to the fore. And I think they had the initial idea. We partnered up on this. Then we brought in some incredible partners from Southeast Asia who've been, really, fantastic in a lot of the integrity of the project. And Caesars came on board as our first major geographic location and partner. And then as we've gone, we've brought in other partners that you'll hear about in the next upcoming weeks who've joined this journey.
Very cool. And can you like kind of explain, like, have you guys built this technology yet? Are you still building the blockchain solution? How did you approach that?
There's two different answers to that. One is the general technologies within the space we've been building for the last few years. We work a lot with universities and graduate students and graduate programs and testing everything from atmospheric effects to audio technologies that we've developed. And our big kind of aha moment was when we switched from just using RF technology to enter a space and allow you to pay for stuff to really changing the way we think about technology, so that in essence each individual coming into our space is the beacon, and then audio uh, and atmospheric and visual and all these different technologies are responding to you.
Got it.
Rather than you kind of triggering it, they're all responding to you. So it basically personalizes everything in a much
Mhm.
in regards to the technology around the blockchain. We've been really fortunate to develop a team in New York and in London. So we're working with some fantastic partners and some protocols ranging from conversion technology real time when you come in, so that we can take multiple different types of cryptocurrency and convert it real time to Yala when you come. You really want to make sure that that experience is fluid. And we have not yet figured out kind of which exchange, and we're all very new because we're literally right now, we're kind of like pre-ICO figuring out our partners
Mhm.
and kind of going through that process, which I expect will be pretty soon over from the standpoint of where we are with the level of demand and back and forth discussions that we're having.
Yeah, I was going to ask how do people get involved? Like, what's kind of your timeline, your roadmap here? So it sounds like there's going to be an ICO for the coin, and then when are you looking to open the first location and get
First,
everything online?
so, well, we go up and running in the fall digitally and
Okay,
start a series of pop-up events in January. And those will be 2 to 3 day mini versions of Kind Heaven that we'll do about 10 of all over the world. And
very
then
cool.
we'll open up the first location in September of 2019.
Okay,
Yeah, and then in regards to getting involved, I would say I'm going to Thailand for the Hybrid Block Summit conference, investor conference, which is the 27th, 28th, 29th of July. And
hmm
I would guess that at that conference we'll be very busy, kind of our process and kind of with a lot of reveals of what we're doing.
very cool.
That'll all happen there. Yeah.
Very cool. Um, so after you've get everything kind of figured out on the tech side and do your launch in the fall, and it sounds like you're going to do a series of these pop-up events. Are you going to What's next from there? You mentioned Dubai, you mentioned Moscow.
We'll have other locations, but I think what we'll start is we're going to launch our own music streaming channel and our own kind of video channel that will be
Okay,
proprietary to the Yala coin holders.
awesome. Do you have any final thoughts, or what's what do you?
Here's my thought. My thought is I've never done anything in my career that was simple, and maybe that's a big problem because my last studio that I built was called Walden Films, Walden Books, Walden Media, and everybody said it's crazy to combine education with children's entertainment because it won't work with each other. And then after we did Holes and because of Winn-Dixie and Narnia, and people are like, "Oh, I get it. I understand now. I guess you can do both." Here we're going down the line, and to me, this is really obvious. To me, it's like people are living Southeast Asian philosophy every day anyway.
Mhm.
They just don't understand it, and we're going to connect it. But there's 680 million people who live in Southeast Asia, and 50% of them are millennials and younger. And you've got a generation of people who are so unbelievably talented. I don't look at my job as creating and determining what of Southeast Asian culture we're doing. There's way more informed people. My job is to make sure we do it the best way. My job
Mhm.
is to make sure that when we find those incredible artists, which we are, and when we find those painters and fashion people and chefs, that we're able to bring them over and truly help them celebrate their talent.
Yeah, I love that element of this, that you're not trying to create artistry yourself, and I mean, obviously to some degree you are, but you're trying to find other artists and you're trying to give them a platform, and you're trying to build a community for them to be able to function and flourish in.
Look,
So
our chefs are not a bunch of people who like work just around here in Los Angeles or
mhm.
New York who are like, I'd love to make Southeast Asian food. No, our chefs are incredible street chefs who are in Cambodia, Singapore, who are in Thailand right now, who are in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City, in a small market that we've discovered. And that is, to me, so exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting. The notion of that level of discovery. You know, we we've come up with a phrase for ourselves of what our company really stands for, and we're speaking to a generation of what we're calling experienced collectors.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want Kind Heaven to give them the opportunity to do, collect those experiences.
So I've got kind of a curious question. Are you going to allow cell phones in these in your world? Is
What happens when you land in a foreign country?
you go through customs sometimes, or
Your cell phone, like you have AT&T or Verizon, you land in a
it
foreign
gets disconnected.
and then what happens?
I got to go sign up and pay for a data plan.
Well, everything you just said will happen in Kind Heaven because you're going to another country.
Okay, interesting.
So use your cell phone. You just have to. Kind Heaven has its own phone company.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was just thinking about it because it's if you're trying to create that immersive experience, what's it like? Because
When you land in a foreign country and you get some crazy sounding name of a company that pops up on your phone and it asks you if you want to sign up for a phone plan while you're there.
yeah, very
All,
cool.
all part of the experience.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you for coming on the show. It's been an amazing pleasure to interview you, and this sounds like an amazing project. It's fascinating to see how you're using the blockchain and you're using cryptocurrency to create this immersive world and this immersive experience, and you're doing it to create a real world marketplace as well as an online marketplace to be able to connect East Asia and that part of the world to the rest of the world. And it's going to be fascinating. I can't wait to check it out.
Well, when you come, we can do Cobra Boba shots together.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you again for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.